Thank you, Manesh. Yeah, that was pretty cool to see. Like I mentioned in chat, I didn't know about that feature, so I'm glad you shared that with all of us. So speaking of sharing, I don't have any cute PowerPoint slides because, well, let's face it, I'm not a PowerPoint person. But what I wanted to do was kind of go through and just talk about Gallery.Selected, right? What it is, why I don't like to use it, and then kind of how to get some more advanced, or not more advanced, more user-friendly functionality as we get away from it. So I built a very simple app. Like literally all this app is a gallery, a form, and some buttons. I made the colors pretty-ish. I made them not white and blue. How about that? I made it look different. So to that end, this is your pretty traditional setup, right? Literally just a normal gallery set up to a data source. And then the form, for the item property for the form, I'm using Gallery.Selected, right? Because this is where we all start, very common. But as you get into things, you just start to find that this has challenges. And so like one of those challenges is, like we can see here, as I click through things, all right, this is all great. But if we go here and we say, all right, I want to do a new record, notice over here, right, we get the blank like you'd expect. But the way the gallery is set up is it uses Gallery.Selected. And so you can see that it's got the little purple bar here and that my font is bigger, right? It gets all like, hey, Shane is selected, but clearly over here on the right side, no one is selected because we're creating a new record. As well, if we go here, let's add a new person for, let's see, how about Clown? And I don't know, let's just make it the first name that comes to mind. How about David? And is there a last name field? There's not, but Warner popped into mind for some reason. But anyway, we don't need any of the fields. But here's the challenge with Gallery.Selected as well, right? So when we say save, what happens? Does it show me David's record? No, right? It immediately goes back to Shane's record, even though way down here at the bottom, there is the David record. So this is also very off-putting for your users, okay? So if we don't want to use Gallery.Selected, how do we get away from that? Okay, so really what's important to understand is that the form for the item property, it just wants a record. It doesn't care how you get there, right? It just wants a record from that data source. It doesn't matter if it's a direct thing like Gallery.Selected, if it's a variable, if it's a lookup function, it just wants a record. You can even handcraft it, it wouldn't matter, right? And that's all Gallery.Selected is. It is the record for the currently selected user, right? In this case, me. So if we understand that that's all it wants, what if we come back over here and say, hey, we know that by clicking on one of these, right, that's how it's changing what's showing up. What if we say, all right, I don't want to depend on the Gallery.Selected. I want to use a variable. So over here in my gallery, I'm going to go to the onSelect property for it. And I'm going to say, hey, onSelect, I want you to create a variable. So we're going to say set var record. And then we're going to set it to this item, right? In your gallery, that represents the current record. So if we click on Chewy's record here, boop, and if we look at var record, now we would see that in the variable is Chewy's data, okay? So if that works, then what if we come over here and say, hey, instead of the item being Gallery1.Selected, what if we did var record? Okay, same thing, right? Nothing changed. We're just seeing the data over there, like we expected. But once we've kind of start to make the switch, now we can start to do some more interesting things, right? This is just a one-for-one there, but now that we understand it, we could start to look at things like, all right, well, for example, we know that when we click this new button, that, all right, so this is working, but over here, oh, well, we're still seeing the marked record here. So we need to get away from these controls using the selected. So for example, if we look in the gallery and we were to look at the rectangle, right? That's what the little purple bar is down here. What's happening here really is the visible is just being set to this item is selected. So that's one of those built-in properties of galleries that I'm not a fan of because we don't control that property. We have no say and what that property does, right? We can't change what the user clicked for them. So what if we said, hey, instead, I want your visible property to be if this item, this item.id equals var record.id. So look, now this is still purple. And if we click on someone different, it's still purple. So the purple still works. But we know if we do new, it's still purple. Okay, so that's not perfect, but it's a step in the right direction. So what if we then say, okay, when they click on new, what if when they click on new, the first thing we do before we go into new form is we say set var record to defaults, our data source, in this case, employees. Employee, oh my goodness, new formula bar makes me angry a lot. We'll do that, and we'll do a semicolon. Okay, so now if we say play, so if we click on Greg, we got Greg. Click on Chewy, we got Chewy. Awesome. But if we hit new, look, we're blank over here, which we expect, but no purple bar, right? None of them have the purple bar. So that's one piece fixed. Now, we also can notice pretty quickly here that the font for Chewy and IT is also bigger. So let's go investigate. So if we look at Chewy, this label here, Title 1, there is a property called font weight. And look, if this item is selected, font weight semi-bold, font weight normal. All right, so what are we going to do? We're going to come here and we're going to change this to just say if this item.id equals var record.id. Now, in this, the ID column, right, is the primary key for SharePoint, right? It's probably what most people start with. But if we were doing Dataverse, right, we would just be using the unique identifier. The unique identifier column out of Dataverse. If we were using SQL, we'd be using the primary key column there, right? The key here is that you just want something that is unique to be your check. Okay. Now, James has a great idea. Like, hey, why wouldn't you go through and just do a find and replace all, right? Like you could do it all in one fell swoop. You know, and I would say that once you're comfortable with what this is going on, I would 100% do that. But right now we want to kind of do it piece by piece so we figure it out, right? Like we understand what's going on. So speaking of that, right, we know that we have the same problem with executive. Now, we could just go here and make that same exact change. Honestly, though, if I'm bothering to change this, what I would prefer you do is say, okay, well, I know that I want it basically do whatever Title 1 does, right? So we know Title 1's font weight is right. So what if we go to this one and we just say, hey, your font weight is Title 1 font weight. So then now whatever fixes, whatever changes we make to Title 1's font weight is just going to perpetuate itself, you know, throughout. So anytime that I've got any type of formula like this that is reference or that is, you know, the same, I'm going to just change it in one place and then reference it in others. So that way I'm not rewriting that if formula, you know, 25 different times. I'm just saying, hey, that one's Title 1's right. Everybody else just do whatever Title 1 is. Same type of thing. Like if we decide we want to add a field here, I would not go up and say insert a new label because I didn't have to do all the formatting, right? I would grab this one, copy and paste, and then wait. Pull this down, right? And then just change this to be this item dot, I don't know, favorite color value. But now I know that it's following, right, like it should. So if we cancel, we go in here and choose, right, all of those are font weighted right, everything looks good. And then when we hit new, okay, that is one away. Okay, so feeling pretty good about that. Now there's a couple other pieces we want to fix here. So the next one that I really want to fix is that we know if we create a new one, right? So new 2, and we won't even bother with the rest of the data. Well, we got to put a first name in here so we can find it. You know, Ralph is very chatty in chat, so we use him. And so if we do new 2 and Ralph, if we say save, okay, we know that's going to get created. But what happens here, right? Ralph is still not selected down here. This form is blank. So, you know, not perfect. All right. So what do we want to do? So now that you've switched to the model of using the variable, you've got to be more purposeful, right? There's more things you need to fix. And so one of them we want to fix is we want to update that variable with whatever record has been created or modified using our form. Now, a lot of people are very tempted to go here to the submit button, or the save button in this case, right? Whatever I call this button, and change the on select. Okay, write this on your hand if you don't know this already. You should never, ever, 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 ever have code after submit form on a button. Okay, if you want something to happen after they click on this button, what do I want you to do? That code 100% of the time, you go to the form and you're going to find that your form has an on success property. The on success property fires when that form is successfully saved. Okay, very important. So what do we want to happen when this form is saved? We're going to say set our record, our variable again. And what we're going to do is we're going to say, I want you to use the form. So this is form 1. So instead of putting the form name here like I could, we're going to use self. So look at yourself and use the last submit. Self.last submit on a form is the last record that was saved, right? Whether it was a new form that was being created, an edit form, any of those things. So the beauty of this now is if we go back over here, let's start with Nicola, right? So we're here. Oh, we want to do a new record. Right? So this is test 3 or 4, whatever number I just typed in. And it looks like Jason is the first name I see over in chat. So Jason is now famous. And so when we say save this time, boop, if we look over here, we've got Jason. It's all highlighted the way we did. But what happened? I had to scroll down to the bottom. So how do we fix that? How do we get them down to that bottom record? What we're going to do here for Jason is we're going to go back to the gallery and we're going to look and note that galleries have a default property. Very few people use the default property of galleries. But if we set this to var record now, okay, let's cancel. Let's go back up here at the top. Let's go click on some people, right? We're clicking. Okay, this is all working the way we expect. But notice that like when I click on Sarah here, watch what happens when I click on Sarah. She jumps to the top of the list because when we click on Sarah, it sets the variable to be Sarah, and then it sets the default to be the variable, and so it then makes that the top item. So if that makes sense, then when we do our next new one, I don't have any new names over there. Who am I going to use? Hopefully someone types something soon. We need a new name, new person. All right, well, it's going to be Vesa then. All right, so if we do Vesa, then we're going to say save. Now watch what happens. Not only are we going to update the variable, we should jump to Vesa's record in the gallery. Let's hit save. Boop. Look at that. And so way down here is Vesa's record. I should have changed it to test 5. Sorry, I'll fix it. Test 5, save. But now, right, like this is the way that it is all working, right? Everything is connected and you're able to drive a better experience for your users because instead of just counting on what they collect, goodness gracious, talking is hard. Instead of counting on what they clicked, right, and always working off of is selected or Gallery.Selected, like what you can't control as the developer, I like to control things. I'm a very controlling person. But now that you're using everything set to that variable, yes, it required some rework, some configuration, but now we can control what goes in here. Now, if you're doing like deep linking examples, you can deep link them right into the thing, right? All of these things open for you as you get away from it. Will says, hey, would you want the gallery jumping around each time a user selected an entry? Right, like that sometimes is off-putting, Will. So it's kind of up to you. If your users hate it so much that they don't, that it drives them crazy, then you could incorporate another variable that says, hey, only set the only use the default for the gallery after they create a new record. Like there is, you could add another layer of shenanigans in here, but if I do that, that'll take away from David's time, so I can't do it. But the good news is you've got all the pieces. Now all the control is up to you. Same type of thing. Like think about potentially setting var record on whatever brings them to the screen, right? So the navigate button that brings them to the screen, maybe you want to set var record to jump to the latest item or the one the most important to them. Like, you just have so much control once you get away from the selected concept.